Ahi, 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 Marie, tai tamariki. In this video lesson, we're going to do some examples on finding probability from a two-way table with a reduced sample space. Let's do a few problems together. What's the probability that a randomly selected disabled person is male? When the wording is randomly selected, that means the denominator of your fraction is going to be everybody. So because we're talking about a randomly selected disabled person, doesn't specify male or female, doesn't specify an age category, just says randomly selected, we know 1062 has to be the denominator. Okay, so the probability that a randomly selected disabled person is male. Well, male, 516, so that's going to be number one. Using the wording of the question to lead us in the right direction to help us correctly pick numerator and denominator. Next, given that a randomly selected disabled person is 45 to 64. Well, here we've got a reduced sample space. Randomly selected disabled person is 45 to 64. That means this is the column we're restricted to, and that's 314. So in that one, our denominator is going to be 314. So given that condition, what's the probability that they are female? So in that column, females are 165. So 165 out of 314 for that one. And let's try another one. Okay, so we're always going to be looking to see if the totals are given. If they're not, you've got to get them added up. All right, what's the probability of randomly selecting someone with a Class 1 license? So randomly selecting, that means we're talking about everybody. So randomly selecting somebody with a Class 1 license, we know the 500, that has to be our denominator. And randomly selecting someone with a Class 1 license. Well, Class 1 licenses, there's 315. It doesn't say male or female with a Class 1 license. It just says Class 1 license, so that's 315 out of 500. One more. If a randomly selected person has a motorcycle license. Okay, so since we're talking about a randomly selected person having a motorcycle license, that's this column here. And there are 41 people have a motorcycle license. So that means the denominator of that fraction has to be 41, because that's how many people have the motorcycle license. So if a randomly selected person has a motorcycle license, what's the probability they are male? Out of the motorcycle license people, there are 24 that are male. There's 24 out of 41. More. What is the probability of a randomly selected person being a female with a Class 1 or 2 license? So randomly selected person being a female, the Class 1 or Class 2 license. I think for that one, we're going to want to add those up, and that might be a bit more time that I want to spend on this one. Well, you can always stop after that first question. Okay, randomly selected person being a female with a Class 1 or Class 2. From previous lessons, you know the word or means that I should be adding my probabilities together. So randomly selected person being a female, the Class 1 or a Class 2 license. So 134 out of 500 is that first probability. 134 out of 500. 134 over 500. And we know that the word or has a probability, needs to add the probabilities. Okay, so randomly selected female, being a female with a Class 1 or a Class 2, there is 84 out of 500. 84 over 500, and adding those together, we are going to get, and that's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 218 over 500. Outstanding. All right, everybody. Hope it helps. A few examples on finding probabilities from a two-way table with a reduced sample space. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for watching.